Story time at the time I dated a married man and his wife walked in on us. Mind you, I am 17, child. I promise it will all make sense at the end, just keep watching. This literally happened in June. I turned 17 in May. I had just turned 17. Just makes everything worse. Let's just get into it. So at this time, my TikTok page was like plummeting. It was after I exposed my racist school and I started getting all those death threats. I basically had to stay off TikTok for a while and social media in general. So I wasn't really getting a lot of notice from anyone. But one day I noticed that this guy was liking all of my videos. Let me tell you this, man. Fine. This man was extra fine. So I was like, let me go ahead and shoot my shot. Honestly, if anyone were to blow up my notice like that, I'd probably follow them anyway. So I followed him. Worst mistake of my life. The thing though is he only had a profile picture, but he did have a video. In the video, he was using a filter, so his face was covered up, but his hair and his bone structure matched his profile picture. So I was like, okay, this is him. I'm not gonna get catfish. Everything is good, right? Anyway, so he DMs me on TikTok. He gives me his number. I text him and we start talking. He tells me that he's 19. Wait until you find out his actual age. Part 2. Part 2 of the time I dated a married man and his wife walked in on us. So yeah, he tells me that he's 19. I'm 17, so I was thinking it's only 2 years and we're both at a very mature age. I was like, okay, that's fine. So we start talking more and we click like this. I really thought that I found the one for me. We had the same personality, same humor. We were interested in the same things. I had been single for 17 years, so I was excited. We keep talking and we plan to hang out one day. He said he wanted to take me on a little date or whatever. I was like, free food. Say fucking Liz. So he comes to pick me up and we go out to a restaurant. Everything's good. I go home. Everything's fine. After that, we plan to hang out again and we go on another date. Everything's good. Everything's fine. Get home safely and I think everything's going good. But things start to get a little weird because the more as time went on, the more we would text and the more we would call. He started to randomly hang up when we were on FaceTime, or he would randomly put me on mute, or he would talk really quiet. I would ask him like why he was doing that and he would say, oh, my phone is glitching. Me being a dumb bitch, I believed it. I was like, you know what? All men aren't trash. Let me give him a chance. We continue to hang out. We hang out like 4 or 5 times until the night his wife came home. Part 3 of the time I dated a married man and his wife walked in on us. Okay, so since everything's going good, we continue to go on dates. We go on 3 or 4 dates and the last time we hung out was at his house. I was kind of confused on how he had a house at 19, but he said that he had a family business that he invested in. That's how he made his money, so he basically had his life set up for him. So I'm thinking, child, oh, he got money. He's cute. He has a nice personality. He's sweet. Like, what could go wrong? Here's what went wrong. So like I said, the last time we hung out was at his house. We're at his house, everything's good. We're watching a movie and a knock on the door. It's like, okay, it's probably just like, I don't know, delivery. He's gonna tell me, go in that room. Like trying to rush me, like, go in that room, go in that room. Obviously something fishy is going on here if he's trying to rush me to hide. So I'm like, what's going on? His wife, who was the one who was knocking on the door, heard my voice and starts yelling. So now I'm like, what did I just get myself into? I am not trying to fight nobody today. I'm definitely not gonna fight over no boy. So I'm just looking at him like, you got some explaining to do. So he goes and opens the door for his wife. And this is what happened. Story time at the time I dated a married man and his wife walked in on us. So I'm at his house and his wife knocks on the door. She's yelling. She's clearly mad. And I'm like, I am not about to get beat up. I have to defend myself. Because we all know those girls that get mad at the girl that their boyfriend cheats on them with instead of getting mad at the boyfriend. So I had to prepare myself. I put my shoes on. I had some rings in my purse. I put those on. I was ready to fight thinking I was going to get attacked. So I had to defend myself. Yeah, so he goes to open the door for his wife. She walks in and stares dead at me. And I'm just like the most awkwardest thing ever. She looks at him and screams, "You have kids!" At that point, I was ready to go because I know I just got catfished. She starts going off on him and I have really bad anxiety, so I zone out. And she looks at me and she goes, "Who the hell are you?" I snap back and I'm like, I'm 17. I don't know what's going on. I don't want any part of this. I was so fucking scared. I just wanted to get out of there. It's like, I did not know. I will leave right now. So I left. I called a friend to come get me because he's the one who drove me to his house. I don't know what happened with them, but I received this text message an hour later from his phone. Part 5 of the time I dated a married man and his wife walked in on us. So after I received that text message from her, here it is again. I texted her back and she blocked me right after. I forgot to add that in the last part when she came in and started yelling and then she looked at me and she was like, "Who the hell are you?" I just automatically screamed my age because I was so scared. She was like, "Stop lying to me because this man is damn near 30. I don't know his exact age, but he's around 30 years old. This means I had just turned 17. I was going on dates and hanging out with a man who was damn near 30 years old. The whole entire time, I was thinking that he was 19. I guess nowadays, you really cannot tell people's age. Someone could be 16 looking 25. It could be damn near 30 looking 19. The most disgusting part of all of this is the fact that the whole entire time, he knew that I was 17.
Okay, story time. So here is one of the things that you absolutely cannot do as a black mom to a white child. You thought that was funny? He thought that was funny. Okay, so one day we are in Target, okay?
That was not in Target.
Not right. No, we're not in Target right now. But one day we in Target, so he's potty training, right? He has to go to the bathroom really bad. So he cannot hold it. Oh, mom, I gotta use the bathroom. So I pick him up and I bolt to the bathroom, okay? Imagine me running with a 2-year-old, just running through Target, right? Oh my gosh. Oh Lord, like, you can't do that. So I am like, so we finally get to the bathroom. He uses the bathroom or whatever. Of course, I'm getting him cleaned up and getting ready to come out the stall. Upon coming out the stall, I see 2 women, not 1, 2, standing in front of the door. I didn't really think anything of it, but I just thought, things you can't do as a black mom to a white son, part 2. So of course you guys already know that I was in Target with my son and he had to use the bathroom. So now we are coming out the stall. There's 2 women standing there at the door. I thought they had to use the bathroom. I wasn't thinking that they were in there because of us. So I proceed to go to the sink to wash my son's hands. Okay, so as I go to the sink, I see the women started kind of box me in. So I'm looking around like, what's the problem? Again, not registering. So the next thing I know, the lady said, grab her. Grab who? Grab me? Don't grab me, because baby, you getting ready to get beat up. You getting ready to get beat up. Like, what is going on? I'm thinking I'm getting ready to get kidnapped with my own son or get robbed. Now we kind of shuffling and scuffling back and forth. I'm trying to figure out what my toddler is. I heard one of them yell out, security is on its way. Then it registered to me, oh, they think I'm trying to kidnap my son. Part 3. So now me and the lady, we kind of pushing each other back and forth. And is she about 55 or 60 years old, right? So I hear my son like yell, mommy. Now he's like a little bit away from me. And I'm thinking that the other lady, who looks about 35 or 40, is getting ready to grab him. So at this point, I had to do what I had to do. I pushed her ass down, okay? Now she laying on the floor. She hollering like I just killed her or whatever. I runs over. So the other lady goes over there to try to aid the lady that's on the ground. I goes, grab my son up as I'm leaving out. The security is coming in. I'm mad. I'm like, call 911. This lady trying to assault me. I don't know what's going on. The police get there. I'm telling them what's going on. And come to find out, I done broke her dang on finger. At this point, I don't even care. Like, so of course now they finds out that my son is adopted. They're apologizing and all this. Then this helper have the audacity to say, I won't press charges if you don't. Girl, your damn finger should be broke. Mind your business.
I was a product of an affair between my mom and dad. My mom was already married and had a 1-year-old daughter. She wanted to abort me, but my dad begged her and paid her a hefty sum. She signed over all rights and I didn't see her for my 14 years of life. She recently contacted my dad saying she wanted to get to know me better, and he said it's entirely up to me. I was skeptical but decided to meet her. I've been talking to my mom's side for about 2 months when at a family gathering they all sat me down and said the reason they contacted me was because my half-sister was having kidney failure and was basically dying. At a loss for words, I got up and left. I told my dad and he said it's entirely up to me, but I should get tested just to see before I make my decision. So I did. When my mom found out, she thought this was me agreeing and told everyone the good news. I did a lot of thinking and I decided I would not be donating my kidney. This family had done nothing for me. The only reason they tried to get in contact was for my kidney. So I don't want anything to do with them. I got loads of hateful calls and messages, but decided to stand by my decision. My stepsister called me and said I'm a douche for giving her false hope. People are saying I'm wrong because I can save a life. My stepsister did nothing wrong. But I feel so used. Am I the asshole for not giving my sister my kidney?
I literally want to cry. So if you didn't know, I have a sister and her name's Ashley. And we both have boyfriends. And every night we both fall asleep on the phone with our boyfriends. So one day we're all hanging out and we're like just talking. And my sister's boyfriend looks at me and he's like, you need to stop going into your sister's room in the middle of the night. And I look at him and I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't have a reason to go into her room. Like, I don't go into her room, especially in the middle of the night. Then my boyfriend hops in the conversation and he's like, no. He's like, no, I hear Ashley go into Kayla's room every night and stare at her. So me and my sister both look at each other and we're like, we don't go into each other's rooms, do we? And we agreed that we do not. And they said this has been going on for months. So for months, somebody or something has been going into me and my sister's room for about 15 minutes every night and watching us sleep. But it only gets worse.
So I get a lot of DMs and emails about people wanting to do collabs with me. And one day I get this email from someone's manager. She has 15,000 followers on Instagram. And basically what they were asking for was me to send them free product in exchange for promotion. But in addition, I would pay them about a week's worth of my wage for that promotion. Which, I don't know, really rubbed me the wrong way. So you want exclusive access because most of my products are out of stock. You want those products for free, and you want me to send them to you for free. And then on top of that, you want me to pay you an equivalent of what I make in a week for you to do this promotion. I don't know, I found it very
I think I just had a wholesome paranormal experience. So last night I had gotten back home from hanging out with my friends. And at this point, I think it was around 10 o'clock at night, and I go straight to my room and I just go on TikTok. And at this point, I was home alone. My sister was out hanging out with her boyfriend and my dad was out hanging out with his friends. So I'm just home alone sitting in my room watching TikToks. And as most of you guys know, I don't really have any pets. I have a cat, but it like never leaves my sister's room. Like that cat is sleeping 24/7. And my dog died. My dog is 6 feet under. Anyways, I'm just in my room when I hear a dog. Like in my house. Like, you know when a dog shakes its head and its collar rattles and its ears flap? I heard that right from my room where I'm sitting. And it like makes me want to cry because this is where my dog used to sleep before he... So like, I think that was his spirit telling me hi. So that's like a little wholesome, spooky story, but it only gets worse.
Story time about how my boyfriend's best friend tried to ruin our relationship. So a little background information. My boyfriend used to be best friends with this one girl. We're gonna call her Jamie. Well, Jamie and my boyfriend were best friends for years, and their friendship was more flirty than anything. Well, him and I got to know each other during track season. So we were always hanging out after school, and sometimes Jamie would be there too. Well, the one night him and I were on FaceTime and we were talking about how we really liked each other. So the next day we started dating. And I was good friends with Jamie too. But then after we started dating, she started acting really weird towards me. Like I would try to say hi whenever I saw her in the hallways, and she would just give me a dirty ass look. So then I told my boyfriend how I thought that she was really mad at me. And he said that he would talk to her. Well, a week before him and I started dating, she told us that there was this guy that she really wanted to ask to prom. And she said that she liked him for a while. Well, then my boyfriend said, apparently a few days ago you were hitting on the boy that she was going to ask to prom. So then I started to connect the dots and I was like, oh shit, like for part two. Part two about how my boyfriend's best friend tried to ruin our relationship. So like I said, I started to connect the dots after that. And then I realized that she was talking about my boyfriend. We're just going to call him Josh. As he's telling me this, I immediately get a FaceTime call from her. So I answer the phone, and she says, well, I think I should just confront the situation now. So the first thing that she says is, you knew I liked Josh. Like, how could you do this to me? I had a poster board and everything. So I'm just like, well, why didn't you tell me that you liked him? And she goes, what the fuck do you mean? Like, you knew. But I was sitting there thinking about the fact that they were best friends for 5 years and nothing ever happened, so it's really not my fault. And then this girl has the nerve to say, I'm pretty sure if you just break up with him now, me and you can get past this and still be friends. So I said no. So then I called my boyfriend, told him that we talked it out, and I didn't even tell him about what she said or anything like that, because I just wanted the situation to be over and done with. So a few weeks after that, she decided to get her brother involved. Her brother and Josh were best friends, by the way. Well, then her brother told Josh that him and I had been hooking up like for part 3. Part 2 about my boyfriend's best friend trying to ruin our relationship. So like I said, then she got her brother involved. And her brother and Josh were best friends. A little background information here. Josh had stopped talking to Jamie for those few weeks after she called me that night because she was making things really awkward in our relationship and just giving us a lot of problems. So the one night, Jamie's brother texts Josh and he's like, bro, I think it's mad sus how you cut her off when your girlfriend's the problem. So obviously Josh texted him and said, what do you mean? And her brother was like, she hits me up all the time to hang out. We've been hooking up. I can even send you the nudes that she sent me. And before I started dating Josh, there was this boy that I was talking to for like 6 months and I ended up sending him nudes. And yes, they got around the school. But surprisingly, Josh had no idea about them. So her brother sent Josh the nudes and said, bro, here, like, see her face is in it and everything. Lesson learned, don't put your face in nudes. So then me and 3 other people explained to my boyfriend that those were from a while ago. And after that, he just blocked both of them and we're still together.
Story time of how my best friend got so weirdly obsessed with me that she even plotted to kill my boyfriend. So at the time, me and this girl, let's just call her Olivia, had only been friends for about 2 years. I mean, we really did everything together. We were with each other 24/7, and I mean, we were pretty good friends. But the only thing about our friendship is she did not like when I had other friends. I mean, she didn't have any other friends herself, but literally she would joke around about strangling my other friends.
because she didn't like when I gave my attention to anyone else. But honestly, I just thought of it as a joke. And then I started dating this guy, let's just name him Jacob. He was probably the sweetest guy I had ever met, and he was a real simp for me. So we started dating and about 4 or 5 months go by, and he started getting these texts from a random number. And it would always be cringy things like leave her or you die, get away from her, and like stupid cringy threats. Then one night, me and him were just hanging out. Then he gets a text with his exact address saying he had till tonight to leave me, or he wouldn't see another day. Then we hear a knock at the door. I'm running out of time, like for part 2. Part 2 of how my best friend got so weirdly obsessed with me that she plotted to kill my boyfriend. So continuing on with the story, we heard a knock at the door and it ended up being her. And she said, oh, I'm just coming by to check on you and make sure you're okay. Mind you, we were at his house. And he looks at me like, what is she doing here? So I asked her to leave, and then she ends up getting so mad at me just because I asked her to give us alone time. So the night goes on, and then when I get home, she's in my room. At this time, my whole entire family was out of town, and I was the only one home. So I was like, oh, hey. It was literally just like a normal night, and then I go to shower, and when I get back out of the shower, she's gone. And then my boyfriend calls me, and he goes, why is Maddie here? She had like this black mask on, but she's stupid enough to not realize that we know it's her. And I mean, we're being real here. She was my best friend at the time. So of course he's not going to call the police on her. But she had a knife in her hand. And he opens the door and he like pins her against the wall. And then calls 911, I guess. And then to sum it up, when they get there, she tells them everything that she was going to do. And then they put her in a mental hospital. But she said that she was going to murder everybody that gets close to her. Story time of how I found out that my mom was putting our dad's ashes in our food. Yep, our mom would put our dead dad's ashes in our dinner. So basically, after my dad died, my mom showed zero emotion. It's like she really didn't care at all. Like she kind of wanted it to happen. His death was like an unsolved case, and nobody knows how he actually died. And now that I get to think about it, it might have been my mom, but I don't want to jump to conclusions. And if it was her and she sees this video, I don't want to end up like him. Anyways, back to the story. So about a month after he died, she would always post a picture of me and my brother's dinner with the caption, you'll always be with them. Literally every single night. And honestly, nobody really caught on. All the comments were like, we're praying, this and that. Until one day I was just sitting on the couch and I look over and my mom was pouring something into the mashed potatoes. So I go a little closer and I see her pouring the ashes of my dad into our mashed potatoes. Listen, this story only gets 10 times worse, so like for a part 2. Part 2 of how my mom was putting my dad's ashes in me and my brother's dinner. Continuing on with the story, after I see her literally pouring my dad's ashes into our mashed potatoes, and I mean, this lady literally sees me staring at her pouring the ashes into our mashed potatoes, and she like doesn't even say anything. I was just, a little shocked. So after that, I just kept quiet until after dinner. And I was mad at my brother that night, so I just let him eat the mashed potatoes. So after dinner, I went up to my mom and asked her why she was putting our dad's ashes in our food. And her exact words were, your father was a bad man. He wasn't meant to be here. I said, what does that have to do with you putting his ashes in our dinner? She goes, it will just cleanse your soul. The witches told me to feed my children's father to them. Bishwa? I ended up telling my brother, but then me and him decided not to ever say anything ever again because we don't want her little spirits telling them to do the same thing with us, so...
Story time of how I found out my boyfriend was cheating on me with my cousin. My boyfriend and I had been together for 2.5 years. His family loved me and my family loved him and they expected us to get married. Well, last year when COVID started, we were actually in different countries, so we didn't see each other for 3 months. During those 3 months, we FaceTimed 4 times a day. And we were always texting. He happened to be quarantining in our hometown, so both of our families were in the same place. I was quarantined in a different country. One day my cousin calls me and tells me that she met a really nice guy on a dating website. I was so happy for her because she had had bad luck with guys. Every single week, her and I would catch up on the phone and she would tell me how much she liked this guy, and how amazing their dates were, and how amazing he was in bed, how sweet and considerate he was. I couldn't be happier for her. Well, when I finally get back home, my boyfriend is super distant and cold. So naturally, I called my cousin and complained. She told me to give him space. She said I should just leave him alone. And so like an idiot, I did leave him alone. One day my cousin calls me and tells me to come over for dinner. When I got there, my boyfriend's car was parked in her garage. I thought it was just her nice way of trying to get us to talk. I walk in and catch them doing the dirty on the couch. Come back for part 2. So I walk in on my cousin and my boyfriend doing the dirty on her couch. They quickly get up from the couch and get dressed. Of course, by that time, I'm in hysterics. I'm crying and yelling. My boyfriend instantly got on his knees and begged me for forgiveness. I went up to my cousin and I punched her right in the face. She wasn't expecting that. And I said, well, this is the guy that you've been dating, isn't it? She said yes, and that she was just trying to find the best way to tell me. And so she just thought the best way to tell me was to get me to walk in on her and him doing the dirty. I punched her again. My boyfriend came to her rescue though. Instantly went into hero mode, which made me even angrier, so I punched him too. I stormed out of her house and went back to my house. Well, I told my parents everything. And my dad went over to my uncle's house, my cousin's dad, and he told him everything. She was about to turn 19, so he took away her phone and her car. And I get a phone call from my ex, come back for part 3. So my lying, cheating ex calls me and explains to me why he actually slept with my cousin. He said that he was so lonely and that he didn't know what to do, and that the closest thing to me he could find was my cousin. Right, as if that was any comfort to me. He said I should be grateful that I didn't cheat with someone else. I told him he had totally betrayed my trust and that I could never ever trust him again. And then he confessed that she was pregnant and that his parents wanted them to get married. He said he just wanted to give me a heads up. Then he said that we could still be together but just not tell anyone, so basically he wanted me to be his side piece. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of his mouth. It was like I didn't know this man. Guess what I did? I recorded the entire conversation. So I went straight to my cousin and I let her listen to it. She was so shocked. She couldn't believe that he would offer to have me as a side chick. Well, I also let my uncle listen to it. He went to my ex's house and beat him up. Honestly, that made me sad, but he deserved it. They now have a baby and he's gained 50 pounds. Trust your instincts, girl, and always record your conversations. Also, how cute are my nails?